Everybody come and catch the show. You want dad jokes, they got plenty of those. So relax and listen on as Dev and Kyle start the apocalypse.
Yeah. That's a first.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm concerned because I've never not loved the double negative. I've never not heard the theme song when we opened up. And you could hear it and I couldn't hear it. And now my head is messed up because you had to count me in. I feel like, is that what professionals do? They don't actually hear play-ins and somebody just counts them in?
Whatever we do is what professionals do. Speaking of which, this is Dev and Kyle Start the Apocalypse. We should probably introduce the show. Speaking of being professionals.
See, we're so professional.
If you'd like to comment on our professionality, email us at devandkylesta@gmail.com. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing.
It's the episode for March 19th. We've decided that's how we're going to do episodes now.
March 19th. We're saying the date of the release of the episode instead of
counting. It's not March 19th when we're recording the show, so I had to do a little bit of arithmetic. But for some reason, I find that to be easier than remembering whether or not it's episode 16 or 17 or 22 or whatever it is we're on by now.
We're getting closer and closer to recording when the actual release is instead of having stuff in the can, which is, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I like it and I hate it. I like it because it's super fresh. And it's especially if we talk about anything that's topical or current event related, it's a little fresher. But I know poor Cass.
You got to edit this shit in. We're going to give her about 20 minutes to get it done. It'll be all right. But
hey, when you give perfection, we're getting better. Even with our shit Blue Yeti microphones.
Even with our shit Blue Yeti microphone.
And my Blue Yeti X. But hey, she said I sound perfect. I think it's because I have the X and you don't have the X.
I don't have the X, like the X chromosome. I have whatever I need to be me.
No, the Blue Yeti X. Professional, quote unquote, air quote. Am I doing this right, Joey from Friends?
I don't know what this means. Is that why yours is black? Because it's the X?
Yes.
Okay. I never knew that.
I think they're the same size though.
Skipping it.
I think that might be what it is. I think there might be something in the internals that's giving me a slight leg up. See what I did there? The inflection.
Speaking of watching a disaster unfold in real time, I read an article today that is topical to our interests. You ready for this?
That could be about one of many things.
Mm-hmm. It is actually multiple things. I'm just going to give it away. There's no way you're ever going to guess this. Charlotte, North Carolina. Chik-Fil-A is in this story.
Okay.
The city council of Charlotte, North Carolina made Chik-Fil-A tear down their Chik-Fil-A because it was a traffic hazard and they weren't able to serve enough cars effectively and it was fucking up the roads.
I saw that and I thought of you immediately. And I was like, oh, Kyle would he would grin ear to ear and be like, I love it. I'm with you, city council. You would be the guy on the council. We got to tear this Chik-Fil-A down, y'all. It is not serving enough cars efficiently in enough time. It is a traffic hazard. I'm telling y'all, I got to take a left turn into the Chik-Fil-A. I don't care how good the Lord's chicken is. And they're closed on Sunday, and that's when I want it the most. We got to bulldoze it, make them rebuild it, put it somewhere better. I got an idea. I happen to own the land.
They get to put the Chik-Fil-A exactly where the Chik-Fil-A started. They have to tear down the entire Chik-Fil-A, remove the dining room, and replace the dining room with a new, I think it said 3-lane drive-through in the same parking spots. The reason why so first of all, tearing down a Chik-Fil-A because it's hard to park at, purient to my interests.
That's right up your alley.
Right up my alley. But even more, I was more proud, I was more interested in the guy who is sitting on the Charlotte, North Carolina City Council, and someone stands up in the back and they're like, hey, Chick-fil-A traffic, what could be done? Because the guy at the city and stands up at this classic city council, Parks and Rec style, they never come with a solution. They just want to bitch. So you know that it's somebody on the council,
right,
who's got to propose the first solution. I don't like go. It's just someone's going to the Charlotte, North Carolina City Council meeting the same way that I go to this podcast. Just going to bitch about a Chick-fil-A. That's the exact amount of thought that they've put into it. I don't like it that the Chick-fil-A makes it hard for traffic. And someone on the city council goes, hey, yeah, you're right. Let's knock that fucker down.
And they're like, whoa. I didn't mean like tear it down. They're like, no. We're going to build it back, but we're going to build it better with 3 lanes for drive-through. Okay, I'm in. Everybody in favor? Yep. I mean, that's probably exactly how it went down, verbatim, if I had to guess. Ladies and gentlemen, technical difficulties thanks to the shitty hotel Wi-Fi. I believe we've lost Kyle. I'm going to keep recording until I figure out what's going on. We are still live, for me at least. I'm stuck staring at Kyle. He's got this Joker smile going on. It's the longer I'm looking at it, the more I'm disturbed. It's still recording. You left and came back, and we're still going. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't think you can hear me at all. I don't know if you can see me. You're looking down. You're looking around. You must not be able to. It must be like I am not here at all. Are you figuring out what's going on? Are you back? There he goes again. What the hell is going on? We're professionals, obviously. We know exactly what we're doing. Technically savvy. We're not boomers, I swear. User is experiencing some connection issues, but recording is being saved locally. All right. So he's being saved locally. I'm being saved to Zencastr. We're going to figure this out. I'm going to take a pause and we will be back momentarily.
So what I love is the guy on the city council. Somebody stands up in the back row. They're like, I don't like the traffic. And the city council member goes, you know what? You're right. We're going to knock that fucker down for 6 months and make him build it again. No. I was just thinking maybe a police officer. No, we're getting a bulldozer. We're getting some dynamite or blow that fucker up.
But I love that Chick-fil-A. No,
Yeah.
We're going to build it back and we're going to build it better with 3 lanes for drive-through, and it's going to be efficient. And then they're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm in for that then. Yeah.
I mean, maybe people were in for that. I like to imagine that sort of municipal lawbringer who's just way too into his job on a city council, even for a city as big as Charlotte, which just feels like an overactive HOA, that they would just be so drunk with power that like, that sometimes it backs up onto the street. Tear it down.
It's not like, oh, we're just going to tear, part of, we're going to fucking just demolish it all the way down to bare bones, rebuild it, because you're going to have to flip everything.
And not, spoiler alert, that Chick-fil-A was not back 3 days later. It took a lot longer. Took a lot longer.
Joke time is later in the program. Thank you very much.
Oh, am I supposed to not try and be funny until then?
Da, 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 da. Joke time. Please laugh.
It's not joke time yet.
I'm sorry for butchering, Chase. I did not mean to offend you.
I left it in when you sang along on the live show, and I might leave it in when you sang along this time too. just so we have the Dev renditions. You can put out a new album. We'll call it Chase's Music, the Dev renditions. Of just you trying
Chase
to sing
covers.
along.
Chase covers. That's what we'll call it.
Chasers. That's even
Chasers.
Easier.
Hey. We are here for your marketing needs. Sign us up right now.
Anybody who wants us on the case, give us a call. That's Dev and Kyle sta@gmail.com. The STA stands for Start the Apocalypse. That's the show you're listening to. We already covered that.
Well, we could also start the apocalypse with your ads, and we are great at coming up with Super Bowl ads, as you can tell right here.
That's
Case in
true.
point. That's Super Bowl ad worthy.
I bet. You know what else is Super Bowl ad worthy? Is the sponsorship. Like, you should just come to this show and give us your $30 million for 90 seconds or whatever the prices were this year.
Yeah.
We're
Easily.
Super Bowl ad money worthy, I think.
We'll give you a discount. We'll give you 50% of a Super Bowl ad for double the time.
3 whole minutes, 15 million.
Bam.
Easy. I think
And
this
we'll
is a
let
great
you
deal.
do it every episode for a year.
Sound drop. I'll be playing that on a future episode. We're going to let you do it every episode for a year.
Pulling it out like, oh.
Speaking of the Super Bowl, there's another weird article that I saw the other day. And it wasn't that the thing was, you ever read that something is now against the rules and you think, whoever thought that thing was not against the rules, like, to begin with? Like, why is this now news?
Yeah.
Okay, I had that experience reading about the NFL Combine.
What rule did they have to explicitly put in writing and say, all right, you're not allowed to do this because somebody did it and we allowed them to do it because it wasn't in the rules, because we kind of just figured you assumed that you weren't allowed to do this?
Because this is from Class Act of the Year, the NFL. The rule is NFL prospects can no longer be asked if their mother is a sex worker.
Because they were asked that before. Wow.
Yep.
I mean, I've heard rumors of some pretty classless questions that were asked of recruits in the past, but that one might take the cake.
Mm-hmm. And it's not a rumor because they've now made it an official rule.
They made it a rule that you can no longer ask that.
So making it a rule confirms that someone was doing it.
That's so much worse than a rumor.
Right?
It's like a rumor. It may have happened. It may not have happened. You can choose to believe what you will.
Nope. Not this time.
Not with this.
We're updating the rule book because we weren't explicit that this was against the rules.
Oh, you heard a rumor that we asked potential draftees if their mamas were literal hoes on the street?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't a rumor. We really were doing that. But we can't do it anymore.
Yeah, we'll stop now. We didn't know it was against the rules.
Hard stop right now. Yeah. Like, do you see the line that you cross? Wait, you can't because it's behind you because you crossed it. There's a line, but you can't see it.
It's like the offside line.
It. Yeah. That's encroachment. Encroachment, NFL. The fuck?
Here's the other part that baffles me. And I know that there's a lot that goes into this. But the NFL also represents like the best football that we have to offer because the XFL is no good.
What about the SEC?
The Wall Street guys? I don't think they play football.
No, it's the NFL's farm league, basically.
I think that you're talking about college sports, and is that true?
That is true. The Southeast Conference, soon to add University of Texas to the already storied roster of football programs and basketball programs, mainly Kentucky, but
mostly Kentucky
with the basketball. I mean, and with football, it's mainly Alabama and a little bit of Florida and Auburn sprinkled in there, and Georgia and LSU.
I think these are the original lyrics to Mambo Number 5. A little bit of Alabama
little
on
bit
the
of
side.
Alabama in my life.
A little bit of Florida. Yeah, that's how that works.
Have you seen the viral it was kind of a flash in the pan. I haven't seen it in a week or two now, thank God. The country rap with this
I did see
girl was like rapping about the SEC and her LL Beans being dirty and like what the.
I'll put a link to it in the show notes. It was pretty cringy. I agree with you.
Giving Southerners a bad name, a bad reputation. We've already got bad enough stigmas and stereotypes to overcome. You don't need to be reinforcing them like that, girl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, just stop. Even if you're trying to go for like the Weird Al, satirical aspect of it, the satire wasn't there.
Mm-mm.
You were being too serious about it.
So we're two ships in the night right now. Still haven't made it all the way to Kentucky, but I'm here in Nashville. I'm in Nashville for business, which is a weird situation because when you're in Nashville for business, you want to go out and have a nice dinner, but you're surrounded on all sides by bachelorette parties.
Yep.
And it's like, even when I go to Vegas for business, which has that potential, at least usually there's like a huge convention that's in town. So there's like a sphere of professionality.
Business. Yeah. Like you go inside the sphere and you're kind of closed off from the rest of the party atmosphere that is encompassing a several mile radius. Nashville is not like that.
Well, it might be like that it might be like that some other time that they have some convention, but I'm not here for a convention. I just met up with 20 coworkers and we could have been in any city because I work from home. And we picked Nashville because the hotel rooms were cheap. That's the only reason we're in Nashville, because we're just having a tiny little micro conference of our own to get together from all over the states.
Even conference where it's supposed to have that sphere of professionalism, once you leave the actual room that whatever meeting or speaker or shindig is, the second you walk out that door, you're just completely bombarded with what you experienced. That's Nashville. It is a weird version of Southern Vegas without casinos.
Yeah, no casinos. The one thing that they have going on is the party bus.
Yeah.
And it must be a marketing thing to have the windows of the party bus not be tinted, because every party bus that has driven past me in the last 72 hours has had fully see-through windows to a bachelorette party going full karaoke on the party bus just as it drives by. And that's not something I have experienced in any other city, not even in Vegas. In Vegas, all the windows are fully tinted. They don't need to advertise that the party is happening inside the party bus. You call it a party bus. People know what goes on inside there. Not in Nashville. They call it a party bus and they're like, just in case you might not know what's going on inside this party bus.
Here you go.
Here you go.
You want to be a voyeur? There you go.
Now, in this moment, for the very first time, I've thought, like, maybe it's some weird Southern law that they can't have tinted windows on a party bus.
It could be. My guess is it's not, because if that were the law, party buses here in Louisville would be untinted, and they're not. So I'm thinking it's more of a, look what kind of fun they're having. Don't you wish you were on here? Or it's supposed to have the effect of, don't do anything too wild because everybody can see.
That's what I was getting at with the, potential that it was some sort of law. But you're just saying it's like, don't you wish your party bus was clear like me?
Yeah. Nashville, Tennessee's got weird laws. The South in general, there's weird laws, especially when it comes to public decency and intoxication. Bible Belt, y'all.
Welcome to the party.
Yeah, exactly. It's you're experiencing a very weird culture of country and crazy in Nashville.
Yeah. And I think it also sort of attracts the country crazy from all over too. So it's like the Mecca for Rebecca.
Yeah, a spectrum of like your millionaire cowboys that have never gotten a speck of dirt on them, down to like your good old redneck cowboys that might, wear hoods on the weekend, if you catch my drift.
We had a redneck for a waiter or for a bartender last night. It was.
Yeah. And then there's everything in between. Then there's, there's the hardcore liberal rednecks that are a thing. I mean, it is such a mishmash of everything country in Nashville, and it's all over the place. There's like hip hop country, super, liberal country, super right wing country. It's
hip hop country.
It's hard to explain until
I didn't hear any of that.
Yeah, like your new wave kind of poppy. Yeah, there's some artists that fit in that I feel like are like hip hop-ish country, or try to be to a degree. They put out like a song here or there. I can't think of their freaking names, but I know the songs when I hear them. I'm not a big fan, as you can tell.
You think of them all and you send them to me, and I'll put them in the show notes, and people can email us and tell you how wrong you are about which songs were which. It did have barbecue that was on point tonight. So, wait, hold on.
What?
Are you turning up your nose at Tennessee barbecue or barbecue?
Tennessee.
Okay, that's fine. You can hold the opinion that your particular Kentucky barbecue or North Carolina barbecue, somebody else's. Yeah. I could see that one on the. Yeah, that's fine. One of the most beautiful things about America is that we have 7 or 8 types of barbecue to fight over.
And everybody's favorite they think is the best, and all the others suck.
That's how opinions work. We've scientifically studied opinions now with the internet for the last 50 years, and we found out here's how opinions work. People get one, all other opinions become null and void. As soon as you get one that's free, you just hand them out.
And you don't have to listen to anybody else's after you. Once you garner your own opinion, just fuck everybody else's.
Yep.
And you don't have to listen at all. It's yours is right. Nobody else is right. Whatsoever. Even with facts, your opinion matters more than facts.
Here's my hot take. You can like whatever barbecue you like, and I'll eat them all, and I won't fight with anyone about it. How's that for a hot take?
Okay, then you can have all the trash barbecue, and I'll take the good barbecue. And you can't have any of the good. I might share a little bit of the good barbecue with you, but you can have all the other trash barbecue. You can have the barbecue that's really not barbecue. It's freaking ribs. Just you can't call ribs barbecue. Barbecue is when it's pulled. If it's not pulled pork or pulled chicken, it's not barbecue. If it's still on the bone.
What about shredded brisket?
Shredded brisket. Okay, that's shredded. It's still pulled. Yeah, I'll take that.
What about sliced brisket?
Sliced is not barbecue.
What?
It's not barbecue.
What?
It's not barbecue. Just because you put barbecue sauce on it, or just because it was smoked meat, doesn't make it barbecue.
That is the weirdest opinion to hold. That if you cook it exactly the same way and you slice it, it's not barbecue. But if you wait and then shred it, it is barbecue. That is a very, very weird place to draw the line.
It's what it is. It's what it is. I don't make the rules. You know the rules, and so do I.
You do make the rules. You're making the rules right now.
I don't make them. I'm just repeating what I was raised on by certain people.
Is this a North Carolina convention, or just a Dev I don't like hamburgers or sliced brisket convention?
It's like a Carolina thing from my at least from my family standpoint. Barbecue is pulled, and it is typically pork or chicken. Brisket would also count if it's shaved, because that's like being pulled.
Shaved is like being pulled.
I mean, once you pull, like what pulling the chicken, pulling the pork is you're shredding it. You're not calling it shredded pork and shredded chicken. You call it pulled pork, pulled chicken, but it's shredded. So yeah, shredded brisket would be pulled brisket, I guess, if you want to get down and dirty with it. You usually don't eat brisket when you go to a barbecue place in North Carolina. It's usually pork or chicken, when you go to a barbecue joint.
You're missing out.
From my experience, maybe in some areas in North Carolina, it might be different, but where I grew up, that's how it is.
You grew up missing out on the best kind of barbecue, which is the brisket.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You're backing down way too easy tonight.
I am happy where I am. I've had delicious barbecue, and
Me too.
I love it, from a place called Fuzzy's, the best barbecue joint in the United States.
Do they want to sponsor the show, you think?
Fuzzy's is cheap. They're a bunch of cheap bastards. I love the place. But they would not give us a fucking penny, even if we sent them 1,000 new lifetime customers that went in there 5 times a week. They wouldn't give us a penny.
They wouldn't give us the $15 million for 3 minutes that we were advertising as the special.
I mean, when you put it that way, it's a steal.
It's a steal. Absolutely right.
I mean, they do make a killing. They have a catering business, and they kill it. The Fuzzies.
Oh,
they have
okay.
a catering that they're constantly smoking butt.
Smoking butt.
Smoking that pork butt.
I am fascinated because I do a little backyard smoking. It's difficult to do, but it takes 18 to 24 hours to properly smoke the food. It is always fascinating to me that a barbecue place can have like the correct amount of food. They had to guess yesterday how many people are coming in tonight.
Yeah.
McDonald's can't even figure out how many people are going to come in the next 30 minutes. Barbecue place is like, you know who's going to be here tomorrow night? 11 pigs worth.
Oh, yeah.
We got it.
Yep. All right. We got it.
And sometimes with like the very, very good low volume barbecue joints, you'll hear a lot about, oh, they ran out of food today. And then that'll be the end of it. But that's not every barbecue joint. And it's not every like place we were at today. We were there for a couple hours. No real line. Still people getting food. And all that food had to start cooking yesterday. So are they just chucking out 50 pigs at the end of slow nights? Or is today's pig tomorrow's chili? I don't understand how they can get it consistently correctly every time and not just be a massive drain on food waste.
I'm sure that some of it is in preparation. They smoke it to a certain point to where, all right, take it and then we store it and then we can put it back in. Or they prep so much based on just an average and go, all right, we're going to prep a little, an extra percentage over what we normally do year over year or month over month or week over week, whatever they're gauging on, and then go from that and go, all right, if we overdo it, then we're going to take the leftovers and we'll be able to sell it a day or two later and it'll still be fresh enough, or we'll take it and donate it, or everybody gets to take it home.
Gauging the Cajun. Having a bizarre economic thought about...
Like banks closing?
No, about how barbecue joints stay in business.
Oh.
The bank's closing, that makes sense to me. They ran out of money, so they weren't a bank anymore.
Just like a barbecue joint runs out of food.
Sure.
They made poor decisions. Thinking ahead, they were like, you know what? We're gonna roast a bunch of pigs, and they ran out of pigs because they roasted too many too soon, and then ran out at the end of the week. That's the analogy. Bam.
FD. There's a joke there about FDIC and finger looking good that I can't get to. No, but where I was going with that is that reminded me of all the other bizarre economic thoughts that I've had on this podcast, like our sock sales down, famously.
And being Kanye West. That's
not an economic thought, Dev.
Yeah, it is, because he lost billions.
Well, sure, but that's a side effect, a fair side effect of his problem.
That's economics. That's capitalism at its finest.
The thing that I was reminded of is I was listening to a different podcast the other day, and the guy was talking about making furniture. And he said that during COVID, furniture sales were through the roof.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That makes sense. But I never thought about it. As soon as you hear it, it's one of those facts like, well, yes, of course. As soon as everyone was locked inside their house, they didn't like the way their house was decorated, and they redecorated. Duh. Makes perfect sense.
Waitlist, 6-month long waitlist for some furniture items. If you went in and it wasn't in stock and it wasn't there, you would have to wait 6 months. We were looking for furniture. The couch that you see behind me. We picked that couch out. It was over our budget that we really wanted to spend, but it met all the criteria we wanted. We loved it. It was super comfortable, and it was in stock, and it was on sale.
That's how those couch people get you.
So we were like, we wait 6 months to get a couch, and we were like, we needed it right then and there within a month and a half, or we just bite the bullet and get it. And we went with that.
So wait, the couch was in stock?
It was the last model that was going out of production. That model was no longer going to be produced. And that was the last one they had in stock. It was on the floor and it was on sale. It was still over our price that we wanted to pay, but we were like, it's awesome. Let's get it. So we got it.
But how long did it take you to get it when it was in stock? I thought you just said it took a month and a half to get it, even though it was in stock.
No, I said we needed to get it within a month and a half. That was our timetable to get furniture, because we gave ourselves some leeway. It wasn't like we went out going, all right, we need to get some furniture today and have it delivered in the next day or two. We had a leeway of, all right, we were having the basement finished. We needed furniture at this time. We were having a baby shower. We figured we were going to have people hosting, coming down here, da-da-da-da. So we went out searching and found that, and had gone to a ton of other places, could not find anything remotely close to what we were hoping to find, or that we even thought was fit a few boxes that we were wanting checked. And we just kept going back to that. So we were like, you know what? It's in stock. Everybody else is on a literal month, year, in some case, long wait list for simple shit. So we were like, fuck it.
This story also reminds me of the fact that I clearly had too much going on during COVID, because there's a bunch of these things that I don't know about. People getting new hobbies, people getting COVID dogs, people trying to get COVID couches.
COVID couches.
I didn't try and buy any furniture during the lockdown. Couldn't even fathom the idea that I would have time to go couch shopping while I was taking all of my children to Zoom school while trying to do my job. It was single people tell me like, oh, I got like 19 new hobbies, and now I do blah, 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 blah. Now I do macrame on the side to help volunteer. Blah.
See, I picked up D&D literally a month before the pandemic hit. So that was perfect timing on that aspect.
Okay.
But then the remodeling hit during the pandemic. Got a dog right before the pandemic.
Did you do the remodeling yourself, or did you have somebody else do it?
We had somebody else do it, and then I did the finishing touches on it, which I wish we would have hired somebody completely different.
Oh my God.
That's neither here nor there. Learning experience. Never again will I put down flooring. Never again will I do baseboards. Never again do I ever want to paint another wall or do trim, or there's still the closet in the guest room in the basement isn't finished. I've got one of those rolling racks that you use for laundry.
Yeah.
In the closet.
Yeah.
And it's like a hanger. It's like here. And I don't have the floor finished in it. So there's just like 2 feet of unfinished concrete in the closet. And that's it.
I have mentioned before about how if I were to, like when we were talking about dryers, that if I were to have tried to take apart my dryer and fuck with it, it would be an instant divorce. I challenged my marriage this last weekend by choosing not to have someone professionally install the microwave, and instead thinking that I could do it. Spoiler alert, I was successful. The professional microwave installer would have been in my home for 30 minutes. let's just tops. They would have been there. I was fucking with this microwave, and it's an over the stove microwave to clear up any doubt that people don't think that I'm just installing a microwave on the countertop. I didn't just take it out of the box and put it on the counter and have it take it entire.
I need a professional to unbox this, put it on the countertop, and plug it in. I am incapable of doing those simple tasks. I am a child.
No, that is not what it was. So I had to hang it above the range. It didn't take me 2 days to do it. The project lasted 2 days because on the first day I quit in utter frustration and just left the house. Just put the microwave down on the floor, said, I cannot do this anymore. And I got in my car and I drove away from my own home and just left because I could not take it because it was such a pain in my ass. And the whole time in my head, I was just replaying the moment where I was sitting on the Home Depot website, purchasing the microwave. And I turned and looked at my wife and said, yeah, I'll just install it. We're buying the expensive microwave. It's a great way to save $85. That's what I said out loud. And I'm never being that stupid again. I took pictures of the half-finished situation and my own face, and I recorded a video to my future self.
Don't.
Don't.
Cheap out.
Yeah. Just to try and remind myself to never sign up for this fucking bullshit ever again. I was so mad.
I'm right there with you. I've actually done the same thing. I've installed an over-the-range microwave and had a similar experience. I didn't take 2 days to finish the project. It was a full day, but there was a stop and leave and drive and come back instance. I needed a little bit of a cool down, but it would have been so much easier to just pay the extra to have it installed. And I still to this day have said, don't skimp out, just pay the extra to have a professional do it. Even if the professional screws it up, at least there's something to fall back on to be like, no, you got to come back out here and fix it. I still be like, no, I can do this. Case in point. I'm so embarrassed to say this.
Come on.
I fucked up. Well, okay. First off, somebody. I'm not 100% sure who.
Okay.
And it could be one person that I'm not going to name.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me, and it wasn't
me.
And it wasn't
me.
Any munchkins, and it wasn't anybody that lives in this house. I will say.
You're conspicuously not confirming that it wasn't me.
It wasn't me or anybody that lives in this house, I don't think.
But you're also not saying that it wasn't me.
Right. Especially, it definitely wasn't me. 110%, it was not me.
But you're saying it could have been me.
I mean, were you in my house? Have you been in Nashville longer than you think?
No.
Or you're not the longer than you say you have been, and
no.
The longer than I think you've been?
No.
And you've been coming in my house at night?
No. Your house isn't in Nashville. That's the only thing I know about it.
You're not really in Nashville.
Open the window. It's cold out here.
Back to the real story. A metal plunger from like the stopper that you would put in a drain.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like the long metal piece popped out and fell into the garbage disposal side of the sink.
Okay.
And the person that let that happen removed the plastic piece that we always keep in that side that would prevent anything from that size falling down into the garbage disposal.
Yeah, we have one of those, but we don't remove it.
We never remove it. So this person had removed that, and then that fell in there, and then they put the piece up on the side of the sink, and then I went and put it back in and turned the garbage disposal on, and it locked up.
Oh, yeah.
With that. So I turned it off, and then I was trying to get it out and couldn't get it out. And I'm like, all right, I can just drop the garbage disposal down. And then when I get it down, I can get in there easier instead of trying to wrestle through the hole here. And I'll have a little bit more access, and I can get a wrench or something in there and pry it loose. So I got under the sink and I started to lower it down. And then I was like, wait a sec. I can't unplug this to pull it out.
Why not?
Because when they installed it, they ran it through a hole the size of probably a nickel, a quarter, just big enough to put a plug through.
And then the plug is now like out, and then put the cabinets in.
And then installed the cabinets. So I would have to drill out a spot, saw it out, and then figure out, I don't even know where the plug is. It just goes in a hole and then disappears. And I can't see back there. And there's just enough of a gap. So I was like, shit, I can't do anything. So even if I can't pull this out, I can't replace it. So I started to just put it back up so we could still use the sink side as a sink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nope. Screwed the seal up. Can't do anything about it to get the seal off because it's the way that it was installed. Some jackleg installed the entire kitchen I'm seeing now. And I'm like, I don't have the expertise to mess with this, but without messing it up more. So I'm like, all right, I think I got it. I started running water through it, and then it's just going around the seal. It looks like it's sealed, but it's just pouring out everywhere. Unless it goes straight into the hole, water goes everywhere. So we have a indisposed disposer.
That sucks.
And I made it worse.
So you're going to have a guy come out and reseal that for you?
Well, we've called, and the guy that's supposed to come out here was like, yeah, I'll be out there. And he never has shown up. And we've called a couple other people and they still haven't shown up either. I don't know what it is. I guess nobody wants to touch garbage disposals.
Nobody wants to work anymore.
Nobody wants to work anymore.
Little PSA, two pieces of PSA. One of them might help you. But for anybody who doesn't know about the Allen wrench socket on the bottom of an electrical dishwasher, do you know that this is there?
On a dishwasher?
Or on a disposal. Sorry, not on a dishwasher. On the disposal.
What? No.
I'm sorry to tell you this now because it may have helped you. Here's a tip from your internet dad. If you've never known this before, because I found it out. On the bottom of your garbage disposal, almost all of them will have a little socket that a big Allen wrench goes in. And then you can manually crank the disposal in either direction to potentially unlock that situation you were in where you turned it on and it tightened up. You just put the Allen wrench in there and go, like, one direction will be the frozen direction, but then you can go the opposite direction of the direction that the motor turns it to release whatever it was clamped onto and like pull it out. So if you ever, Dev's making a face right now where he doesn't want to comment on this situation. So if you ever find yourself in that situation, just get under there and look for that little Allen wrench spot because it's a standard.
Look for the Allen wrench spot, people.
Now, the second part, that part's not going to help you at this point because your seal's fucked up. The second part that I'll tell you is usually that plug is behind your dishwasher. So instead of tearing out all your cabinets, your dishwasher should slide out far easier than any of your cabinets will slide out. So
this is true.
You just slide the dishwasher out and look back there and see if the garbage disposal plug is in there. So if you do need to get a new garbage disposal.
My dad might kill me, but I told him about all this and he didn't even have any of that advice.
Well,
he's going to be up here tomorrow too. And he was like, did you get that disposal fixed? And I was like, nope, it's still fucked. And he was like, I'll take a look at it with you. We'll get it fixed. He made no mention of that. Now, if he gets up here and he starts rattling that stuff off, I'm going to be like, why didn't you tell me this before? Yeah. He'd be like, well, I guarantee if he does, he'll be like, well, I thought you knew that already. No, I'm not a plumber. Neither are you. So if you knew that and you didn't tell me explicitly, how would I not know that?
I only discovered this in my 20s when something was stuck in my dishwasher, like Googling it. Or I'm sorry, not stuck in my dishwasher. I keep saying that. Stuck in my garbage disposal and like Googling it to figure it out because I have an absolute fear of putting my hand in the garbage disposal.
Me too.
There are a couple times that I've reached in there And the whole time, and it might not even be like the safer way to do it, but I like hold the switch off while my hand is in there.
No.
Because I don't want anybody to come by and.
But what if you have like an accidental spasm, like where your brain, you're thinking.
Why would I have an accidental spasm?
Because you're thinking so hard and concentrating on not doing it that your brain just goes like for just a split second.
No. Why would that possibly? It couldn't.
It could happen. It could happen because it can happen. It can happen.
Now that you've told me that it could happen, it's my new fear. So yes.
Don't do that. Don't put your fucking hand on this. Don't have your hand on a switch that something could accidentally startle you.
No.
And you could go and just. And now everybody calls you Stumpy instead of Kyle.
No one comes in my kitchen and jump scares me while my hand is in the garbage disposal.
You say that until one day it happens when you're an old man.
Most of the time I use kitchen tongs to reach in there because even when it's off, I don't like to do it. So like I've got the kitchen, like the salad tongs out, putting those in there to try and get whatever it is. But we have the big plastic thing that blocks anything from going down there, which is what I think you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was removed. And I'm like, who would remove that?
Who would remove it? I didn't.
And not replace it.
I'm just telling you, I am not the one who did it.
I know you didn't.
I would never take that thing out of there.
I know you didn't. Because I don't want things like this to happen.
So I've only ever used the Allen wrench thingy on 2 garbage disposals in my life. It was on one of them in one of the apartments I lived in, and it was on one in the house I lived in that I needed it. So I've assumed that it's on the bottom of every garbage disposal. But if you're listening to this and you don't know for sure, go check tomorrow. Just see if it's there.
But don't put your hand on the switch that turns the garbage disposal on with your hand in it.
Don't turn the switch on. We can agree on that. Don't turn the switch on.
Just don't even touch it. Don't put your hand near it. Don't let anybody else get near it. Just don't do a Kyle.
Now that you've put the fear of the spasm in me, now I'm going to have to like duct tape the switch off while I do it.
How could you even, with the fear of putting your hand in there to begin with?
Yeah.
Why would you even get near the switch? I would want to put like a cage around the switch so where nobody can touch it.
That's what my hand was doing, because prior to this conversation, I was far more afraid of the switch just switching than I was of me spasming.
But you could be the one that does just the switching.
Well, I never thought that through. I don't think of myself as a spasm waiting to happen.
The human brain and human error in general.
I don't make mistakes.
Don't be on 1,000 ways to die.
1,000 ways to lose a finger.
I mean, that could, not only could you lose a finger, you could lose your hand. You could completely
get all the way up to the shoulder.
Die from it, from going into shock and bleeding out. Just keep leaning into it.
The crime scene investigator would just come in and say, who let a bird scooter into this kitchen? Just an absolute fucking crime scene.
A bird scooter.
There are those electric scooters are everywhere in Nashville, and I cannot look at one of them without thinking of you.
You didn't ride one for me?
No, God, no. I'm too old for that shit.
Tame them motherfuckers. They all must pay.
Because the only thing I would think to myself is, what if I was on one and I had a spasm?
Touche.
Speaking of touche.
Please laugh.
You could hear that one this time.
I could hear that one this
I'm
time.
happy we fixed it. This is great.
Technical difficulties. I blame the hotel Wi-Fi and just Nashville in general being a crazy party city.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of blame to spread around.
And shame.
So a grasshopper walks into a bar. He walks up to the bartender. The bartender says, hey, how you doing? Do you know we have a drink named after you? Grasshopper says, oh, yeah? You got a drink named Greg?
But a bunch.
I like that one.
Hey. Oh. Oh.
You didn't like that one. I can tell. I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your eyes. That's all right.
Because I feel like you told me that one off air.
No.
Either you did or somebody else did.
I did not write that joke, so I'm sure that somebody wrote that.
And I'm pretty sure that was my same reaction. Just, ooh.
Does that one not pass muster? Do you want a second joke? Because I have next week's joke. I can find another one in advance of next week's joke.
You're going to jump ahead?
Well, you didn't like that joke, so I'm not going to let that one count.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I'm going to start giving things a dad groan.
Guy goes to the doctor. The doctor comes in and he says, he gets all the checkups, he gets all the scans, goes in for his, to get the results. And doctor comes in and he goes, yeah, man, I'm sorry. Like, I got bad news and I got bad news. And the guy's like, okay, well, I came in here for a reason. I'm prepared. Hit me with it. And the doctor says, I'm sorry. You've got cancer. The guy's like, oh, fuck. I knew it. You just feel like there's something wrong. Okay. All right. The doctor says, and you also have Alzheimer's. And the guy says, whew, at least I don't have cancer.
Oh.
See, there we go. That's what I was looking for. Now we can move on with the rest of the show.
Those are two of the worst diseases ever.
I thought you were going to say two of the worst jokes ever. Only one of those jokes was bad.
Only one of those jokes was bad. I'll let the audience decide which one.
I actually think it's true. That's those two jokes represent sort of the two ends of the spectrum. I think that 100% of our audience will think that one of those jokes was bad.
I mean, I think 100% of the audience will think that both of those jokes are bad in different ways of being bad.
Somebody somewhere has to appreciate Greg the Grasshopper.
I didn't say I didn't appreciate it. I appreciate it. On a scale of 1 to 10 of appreciation, it's an 11.
An 11? You didn't make an 11 face. You made a 1 face.
It was a dad groan on a scale of one out of 5 dad groans. It was a 4.5.
1 out of 5. Why is the first scale a 1 to 10, but the second scale is a 1 to 5? That threw me off on the mathematics.
I don't know. It is what it is. I don't make the rules, even though I just made this fucking scale up. I made the scale. I don't make the rules of the scales.
Make the rules of the scale. Okay.
The dad groan is like the scale of when a dad joke is said, what kind of groan level you get from the kids or the wife.
I thought potentially that you didn't like the joke because the grasshopper's name was Greg, and Greg, the soccer coach from the Amanda episode.
Oh, Greg. Yeah. Greg
He was not the grasshopper because in the grasshopper has very strong legs. So that's how we know that he's not the grasshopper in that joke.
Hey, spousal abuse is no joke.
Never a joke.
Unless it's Greg Berhalter.
He's the joke. That's how you know the difference. He's the joke.
Thank you for clarifying. Yes, I did not want to come off as a dick there.
So I think I made it very clear that I don't have any idea how soccer works during the episode where Amanda was here and we were learning about all of the various drama throughout soccer. By the way, the fully extended version of the Amanda interview is available on our Patreon at patreon.com/DevandKyle. So check that out. The reason why I bring up the Amanda is I was at, schmoozing, for this work trip. And a couple of my coworkers are big soccer fans and the whole thing. And I brought up the Berhalter, like the whole fiasco. None of them knew anything about it. Like none of them.
You came off as the man on the inside.
A supreme soccer nerd because I knew all the details of the whole story. And these people are World Cup fans, Premier League fans. What's the American US? What's the American
MLS?
The MLS
USL and USL.
Big fans of all of those.
USL. That's where Louisville's team's at. So I actually somewhat semi follow that.
Okay,
to a degree.
They like all of them. And I was like, oh yeah, you know the soccer controversy. No, I don't. I don't know any of this. You know why the greatest player on the U.S. men's national team didn't play at the World Cup? No, I don't. I was wondering why he didn't play.
Now you know.
And I had to fill him in. They got a special live episode of the show. They appreciated the story. Shout out to Amanda for giving me cocktail party stories.
Yay.
But yeah, that was so that was very bizarre. It was very bizarre to find myself with nerd level knowledge about a topic that I really don't care about.
With other people that are supposed big fans.
Like how you're a supposed fan of Kentucky.
Supposed. Allegedly. Allegedly. We'll see how Friday goes. And then we'll see.
What's going on Friday? Are they doing well in the brackets? I don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, it starts on, well, technically it started yesterday with the playing games, but yeah, that's their first game is on Friday. Selection Sunday was just Sunday, 2 days ago.
You know what we call Selection Sunday in my house? Sunday.
If I lived in Arizona, I probably wouldn't be big into basketball either.
We have a great basketball team in Arizona. The Phoenix Suns, they're doing really well.
With how many championships there?
How many championships does the NBA team in Kentucky have?
Arizona Wildcats do have a national championship. I was there for that in 98.
You were at that?
They beat Kentucky.
Oh, they beat Kentucky. Oh, okay, that's why you were there.
Or 97. I'm sorry. It was 97 that they lost. That Arizona won. Yeah. Because 98, I was also there. That was in San Antonio. And we beat Utah.
You were like a child. What were you doing? What were you doing at those when you were a child? I thought for sure that you were traveling to all your March Madness games when you were at least an adult. Did your parents take you?
Those are, not my first. My dad and I went.
Okay.
And my dad's not even a fan of Kentucky, or at the time I really wasn't either because we had just moved here. Basically, I was in 7th grade and 8th grade.
And you thought anybody who can lose to Arizona should be my favorite.
Well, at the time I was still a big Duke fan because coming from North Carolina, I had grown up a Duke fan. And that was, I really didn't understand why Kentucky hated me so. All my friends that were Kentucky fans hated me so much at first, and then I kind of grew to understand. And I was like, you know what, I don't like Leitner either. He was kind of a douchebag.
That is true.
And here I am,
just because he got to go win a gold medal and then barely play in the NBA.
Yeah, he was a dick before that, but I was too young to understand that he was a dick at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back in retrospect, I'm like, yeah, that he was, and I would assume if he hasn't changed, still is. I don't know.
Sure.
If you want to come on the podcast, Christian, we'd love to have you.
Christian Leitner, if you're a big fan of ours and you want to come on the show, hit us up. If you are Christian Leitner's friend, hit us up, Dev and Kyle, STA, at gmail.com.
If you know somebody that knows Christian Leitner,
we'll interview them about Christian Leitner.
Yeah, exactly. We will get to you, Christian. You're going to get on this podcast. We're going to interview you. We want to talk to you, set the record straight.
Continue to have I don't know. I have no idea. If you want to come on the podcast and tell us that you're still a dick, we're here for it. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, we're here for you. We are a soundboard for Christian Leitner and any and all ex and current college basketball villains.
Sure. If you know what, I'm going to extend the sphere. If you've ever been called a villain in public in your life, email us, devandkylesta@gmail.com.
On the public scale, to where everyone, to a degree, a large chunk of society or a chunk of people have heard, not just random people said you're a villain.
No, because I still want to hear that story. I might not publish the episode, but I still want to hear that story. If you come on the show and you're like, well, I defended crossword puzzles, and like, who cares? Like, we'll delete the episode. But
I was called a villain because I didn't say thank you for someone holding the door open for me.
If you have a dumb story, still come on the show. We want to talk to you.
I mean, I'm on the show and I've got nothing but dumb stories. So
Exactly right. Speaking of having had my fill of dumb stories, Dev, you know what time it is?
Good night.
It's time to go. So we'll let everybody know that I have been Kyle.
I have been Dev.
And we have attempted to start the apocalypse. Good night, everybody.
Night. Mainly Alabama and a little bit of Florida and Auburn sprinkled in there. A little bit of Georgia and LSU. Nashville barbecue sucks.
Dev and Kyle Start the Apocalypse is brought to you every other week with a full archive available at devandkyle.com. The Apocalypse theme and other music in the show is written and performed by Chase Noseworthy. He's Chase Noseworthy on YouTube or at NoseworthyChase on Twitter. All graphic design for Dev and Kyle Start the Apocalypse has been created by Dead Vision. Find her work on Twitter and Insta at XDADOTTER and book her immense talents at XDADOTTER.com. Audio engineering provided by Cassandra Umsong. She can make you sound even better than Dev and Kyle because you'll provide much better raw materials. Get in touch with her on Twitter at Coffee with Coom. That's coffee with COUM. Dev and Kyle support artists and creatives of all types. Exposure is for film. Artists need compensation. If you're interested in becoming an apocalypto to help keep supporting all of the artists who make Dev and Kyle sound passably professional, please consider becoming a sustaining patron at patreon.com/devandkyle. Show notes, transcripts, and any other information from this episode should be available at devandkyle.com if Dev and or Kyle did their job. Fingers crossed. Finally, deeply and sincerely, Dev and Kyle think that you are a wonderful person who deserves love and compassion. We hope our small gift of what we consider interesting or entertaining has made your day even the tiniest bit better. Thank you for liking or subscribing in your favorite podcast app. And if you think others may want to know about this show, consider leaving a review in that same podcast app. It really helps us spread the word. Thank you.